Okay, Eyes of Wakanda released today. I got up, watched all 4 episodes. It's a 4 episode mini series of Eyes of Wakanda, which is a anthology based mini series, 4 episodes long, each episode ranging between 30 to 35 minutes around there. And I'm gonna give my thoughts on it. Like I said, watched all 4 episodes, and I liked the trailer, so I went in pretty optimistic. I didn't know it was an anthology series though. I'm not the biggest fan of anthologies. And that's one of the reasons why I dropped off of the What If series. If you guys remember the What If series, I wasn't a big fan of each episode taking place in a different story, and I'm just not a big fan of that. That's another reason why I haven't watched Star Wars Visions. I much prefer just all episodes length. I will say that with Eyes of Wakanda, by the time you get to the 4th episode, it does link to not only future stuff in the MCU and the Black Panther world, but also episode 4 really brings back everything from the first 3 episodes. So, yeah, I jumped into this being a fan of Black Panther, being a fan of Wakanda Forever, going, okay, Disney and Marvel's animation has really been on point lately. I loved X-Men 97. I loved Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I loved the Star Wars Tales of the Outlaws, Tales of the Jedi and the Empire. Like, I really enjoyed all those animations, and I really wanted to give this a shot for my love of the Black Panther movies and the lore, and wanted to see where they explored it. So I jumped into this thing, and one of the things I was most looking forward to was the Iron Fist episode. Now, I'm going to say this right off the bat. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. I'm going to shoot with you guys 100%. I felt like these 4 episodes was a mixed bag. I felt like 2 of the episodes were really good. 2 of the episodes were kind of hit and miss for me. Wasn't a big fan of the first episode. Loved the second episode. The second episode really dived in. So, what this series is about, let me before I start breaking down what I liked and did not like, what this series is about, for the most part, each episode consists of a different character in a different time period looking for an artifact from Wakanda and to bring that artifact back to Wakanda. So the first episode, you follow one character. She's trying to get an artifact for Wakanda or from Wakanda that was stolen. The second one is another character from a completely different timeline trying to do the same thing. The third one, so on and so forth. And then finally, it all comes around in the 4th episode, which it all ties back in. The first episode I thought was fine. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I thought it was okay. It was a great start. Second episode, I absolutely loved. It dealt with Greek mythology. It dealt with the Trojan War, the Battle of Troy. It dealt with Achilles and Odysseus and the Trojan horse. And as a guy who loves Greek mythology ever since junior high, that was like the episode that I was just like absolutely loved. I loved the brotherhood feel of it, and the fighting toward the end, and the remorse and the tragedy, and all that. I really loved the heart and emotion in the story that they told in episode 2. Episode 3 was probably my biggest letdown, mostly because that was the episode I was looking forward to the most, and that was the introduction to Iron Fist. Again, it's not the Iron Fist we know. It's not Danny Rand. It's a completely different Iron Fist because it takes place in a different time period. I just kind of felt like the episode just kind of fell flat. It was my least favorite episode out of all 4 of them. Not really a whole bunch to say other than, I was just a little disappointed in it. I wish they would have done more with the Iron Fist lore. I wish they would have done more with the character. I wish they would have done more with the character from Wakanda and the relationship he had with this character who saved him when his life was threatening, when he was down and out. This character brought him in and nurtured him back to health just for him to kind of split. Like, they never really dwelled on that. It was more of like, oh hey, I'm gonna dip, I'm gonna go get this artifact, I'm gonna dip. Iron Fist follows him back to Wakanda, and then like shenanigans to happen and so on. Like, it was my least favorite episode. But then episode 4 came in, and episode 4 really tied everything together. We find out that there's like this alien invasion that's attacking the world, and now it's invading Wakanda. The last Black Panther goes back in time, and they're trying to figure out how like the artifacts all lead into what's going on, and her looking into the artifacts is the reason why we're going through each time period looking at these artifacts and how these artifacts tie in to the overall invasion at the end of this movie, and how that ties into Killmonger in the first Black Panther movie. So a lot of that, I really enjoyed the payoff of episode 4. But again, episode 2 and episode 4 I thought were great. Episode 1 was hit and miss. Episode 3 I just did not enjoy. I just felt like they could have really dived more into the heart of this character, taking care of this person, just for that person to just dip out and betray that person. There was like no heartfelt emotion involved whatsoever. It just didn't hit for me. Episode 3 was a massive letdown. But I will say, after watching this series, this 4-episode miniseries, again, I'm not the biggest anthology guy. I would much prefer if it was just 4 episodes of the consistent characters and a consistent story arc, rather than jumping the time period, having different main characters in each time period just to bring it around in the 4th and final episode. I understand that, like, I like the fact that they at least tied it back in toward the end, but I wish if they do a season 2 that they would focus on stuff that maybe we would want to know more about in the Wakanda lore. Like, I would much like if they would have done like 4 episodes of T'Challa's father, I would have been down for that. Or maybe 4 episodes of what Killmonger is doing or something. Or even like bring back, maybe you can't voice Chadwick Boseman, but bring back T'Challa in like a 4-episode miniseries and just kind of talk about some of the events of him. We would always like to have more T'Challa. I think that's a positive thing, even though you just get a different voice actor. I think the T'Challa character should come back. So I was a little disappointed in the fact that, yeah, it was four episodes. That's cool, but I wish like we would have just followed the same character through all 4 episodes. And again, I fully acknowledge that that's a me thing. That's just me not being a fan of anthology stuff. Like, I'm just not a fan of it. That's why I avoid Star Wars Visions, and I just stopped watching the What If series, because I'm just not a fan of the anthology series. But with that said, I thought it was decent. I thought it was hit and miss. I thought the animation was phenomenal. I thought the overall story, once we started to realize how it was tying in to the overall plot in episode 4, I really had a good time with it. I would say if you are a fan of the Black Panther film, the comics, the lore, you want to learn more about Wakanda, and you just have some free time, I definitely think that, you should definitely check it out, give it a watch. You can watch all 4 episodes in like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So it comes out to be like a little mini movie. So if you are a fan of Black Panther and you want to know more about the Wakanda lore, I highly recommend you check it out. But if you're someone who's not big on animation, not big on anthology stuff, you could probably skip this. This does not tie in anything into the future of the MCU. It gives a little bit more context about the history of Wakanda and how it leads up to like some of the events that they throw in kind of Easter eggs for the first Black Panther movie. Other than that, you can completely just miss this and it wouldn't change your outlook on anything. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give Eyes of Wakanda a 6.5 out of 10. Really loved episode 2. Episode 4 was really good as well, but unfortunately episode 1 and episode 3 kind of left it where it was a mixed bag. So I'm going to give it a slightly better than average score with a 6.5 out of 10. That is my thoughts on Eyes of Wakanda. Have you guys watched it? Do you plan on watching it? Leave your comments in the comment box below. Please do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. We are on our way to 29,000 subscribers. Can only do that with your help and support. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I'm Robert Storms, And that's my opinion.